This is how to do every piece of basic motorcycle maintenance to your sport bike. Starting off with an oil change. The first thing I recommend you do is get your bike on a set of paddock stands. Now that our bike is up on the stands, we're gonna start off by accessing the oil drain plug. It's time to drain the oil out of your bike. Grab yourself a ratchet and get a socket that's the same size as your drain plug because you don't want to round anything out or strip anything. Oh, ouch. Now, after you've let all of your oil drain out, it's time to reinstall your drain plug and install a new oil filter. Grab your new oil filter and make sure that you actually take the plastic cover off. I can't believe that I have to say that. And before you install it on your bike, there's two important things you should do. For one, I like to pre-fill my oil filter with some oil. That way it's not starting on the bike completely dry. So just take some clean oil and start pre-filling your oil filter. Wait till it gets to about the top and then let the oil absorb inside of it and you should be good to go. Now, the second thing you're gonna wanna do before installing your new oil filter is you're gonna wanna dip your finger into some oil and you're gonna wanna trace the rim of your rubber seal on your oil filter. So dip your finger in some oil, take your oil filter just like this, and you're going to want to put that oil on the trim of your rubber seal just like that. Now, when I'm installing an oil filter, I usually don't go any more than hand tight. However, I like to do at least 1/4 turn with a tool. That way I make sure that it's on there securely. Now all that's left to do is to pour some fresh oil into your bike. And if you've made it this far in the video, be sure to drop a like for me. I highly recommend having a dedicated funnel just for oil. That way you're not having any outside contaminants in the fluid. Now make sure you check the casing on your bike or check your owner's manual so you know exactly how much oil your bike needs. Now with the oil change out of the way, it's time to do your spark plug. The first tool that you are going to need is a ratchet with a spark plug socket and an extension on it. Really, the only other tool that you're going to need is an extendable magnet. Now for the spark plugs furthest on the left and right side of the motor, it's a really good idea to get yourself a swivel socket. You can do this in whatever order you want. However, I recommend going one at a time. That way you're making sure that the right ignition coil is going back into the correct cylinder. Go ahead and grab your ignition coil and just pull straight up and it will come right out. Now you're going to want to take your ratchet and you're going to go down into the cylinder from the coil you just removed and remove your spark plug. Slowly rotate the ratchet and you'll feel it naturally fall onto the spark plug. Once the spark plug is loose, you're going to want to grab your magnet and pull out the spark plug. Now you're ready to put in a new spark plug. You want to make sure that your spark plug gap is within the manufacturer spec. Also, do not screw your spark plugs in too hard. They do not need to be that tight. Most people recommend to me to put the spark plugs in about hand tight and then just give it a little extra nudge and you should be completely good. Now you're going to take your ignition coil and put it back into the cylinder. Don't worry, you'll know that the ignition coil is secure because you're going to hear it click into place. Now just reconnect your wiring harness to your ignition coil, rinse and repeat for all of your cylinders, and you're done. And finally, with the hot summer approaching, it's time to change the coolant in your sport bike. Your bike is probably going to have a drain bolt somewhere on the motor for the coolant. However, in the case of Suzuki, I can just take this hose off and all of the coolant will come draining out. Now get yourself a bucket or a drain pan because you're about to drain all of the coolant. The next step you're going to want to do is either reconnect your hose or reinsert your drain bolt. You want to get it on there tight, but be careful not to damage the bolt on your hose clamp. Your next step is you're going to want to remove your radiator cap, just like that. Now it's time to fill the bike up with coolant. I highly recommend that you use a funnel. It makes your life way easier. Also, do not forget to fill up your overflow reservoir. Now that I've filled up the overflow reservoir, I'm going to start the bike. That way I can rev the engine and shake the bike to get as much air out of the coolant system as possible. Put everything back together and you're done.